What's going on? Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Off the Schneid. I told you we'd be streaming this weekend. We got a couple tournaments to get to. So let's just jump right in, get right into this. I want to get into the Bulldog because it might take a bit to fill. So let's do that right off the hop, and then we'll go through these tournaments. So jumping in the single entry Bulldog, it's almost full, 81%, 2,400 out of 3,000. So we're almost there. I'm going to jump in. Let's just make sure I'm going to fast. There we go. Waiting on 5. So if you're in the chat, you haven't drafted your Bulldog yet, jump in. But let's take a look at these new tournaments. So the Bulldog, obviously relatively new, the Rottweiler and the Dachshund. So I've drafted a couple Dachshunds. I have 2 left, 2 of my 4. So I'm halfway home. I got time. I'll get those done today because you kind of have to. So hit that like button. We get enough likes. I'm not sure what enough is yet, but it's annoying. Can't stream on Twitter anymore. Good old Uncle Elon isn't getting enough money. I guess you got to pay for a premium. So that's fun. Maybe I'll do that for next, summer, next hot best ball summer. I don't, as many of you know, I don't stream during the season and during the winter. I just get too busy with my life. So I'll be back for playoff best ball. So maybe that's when I'll, bite the bullet on the old premium Twitter. But either way, the Dachshund, I like the structure a ton. 2 of 12, 1 of 5, 1 of 6, and then 56 seat final. 30K up top, 20K per second. That's pretty balanced up top. I like that. It's obviously a little consolidated to the top 4, which is great. That's a fantastic structure. I'm really happy to see that. Obviously going to max that out pretty easily. And then, hope for the best. So I like the structure on the Dachshund. I'll get my 4 in halfway there. And then the Rottweiler, I'm going to max this one as well. So another 4 entry, 2 of 12, 2 of 10, 2 of 10, and then only a 90-seat final. I like that quite a bit. 50K up top, 25K per second. Third isn't far behind, and neither is fourth. So again, consolidated up top, but pretty nice payouts. Even down, man, even the top 10 realistically, top 15. I guess it is a higher, hence the title of the video is a little higher stakes. So, you got to get some give back on that. You make the top 50 and you're, 10X your max buy-in sort of thing on the 4 entries. So I like this one a lot. The 2 of 10, 2 of 10, that's a huge difference from, BBM. Makes it less important to, sell out for week 17 and less important to have double stacks, double bringbacks, whatever. It's just less important in my opinion. You can take a lot more of the kind of best player available and let the draft come to you a little bit more in these types of structures and these types of tournaments. So we'll see. I haven't drafted any of my Rottweilers yet, but again, I'm going to max enter that. Let's see where we're at with this Bulldog. Still waiting on 5. I figured it would take a little bit of time to fill up. So if you're in the chat, like I said, and you haven't drafted your Bulldog yet, jump in and we'll get that done. Hit that like. We'll rip another draft after this Bulldog, maybe a Dachshund, Rottweiler. We can do Best Ball Mania. I don't really care, but we'll get another one, probably the Dachshund, just because it's going to fill first. And I want to make sure that I get all my drafts in before it fills. I don't want to be doing any slows on those, to be honest with you. So let's take a look at the structure quick for the Bulldog while we're waiting. I love these higher stakes, high-ish stakes, $100, $75, $50 even, whatever. We'll see if the Chow comes out and if it's like a 10 max or something like that. We'll see. I'm going to be pretty selective on my tournaments from now till the end of the season here. Definitely still going to obviously max the Best Ball Mania. That's kind of my big focus. And then tournaments like this, the 4 max, 10 max, poodles are fantastic. I'd love to see another poodle get launched. But these single entry kind of higher stakes types of tournaments are my absolute favorite, to be honest with you. So 2 of 12, 2 of 10, 2 of 10 again, but then only a 20-seat final. So realistically, week 17 doesn't really matter a lot in this structure. Like, yeah, you can correlate. Yeah, you can do a bring back, but there's really no need to reach or force stacks or, anything like that. Force a bring back. Like, if it comes to you, great. And if it's a guy that you have high in your ranks and you would select anyways, wonderful. but it's really, really not necessary to reach for stacks, pull up players, get unique, things like that are just not necessary in this tournament structure. So again, you make the final, $1,000 in your pocket. That's a little more than 10x your buy-in on the single entry, $75. So love the structure, love this tournament. Top 100 get paid perfectly fine. You're really just selling out to try to make the final, obviously. So, which is pretty attainable. 2 of 12, 2 of 10, 2 of 10. Pretty attainable. Love the structure. We'll see what happens. Obviously the draft spot you get is going to be pretty important. I would really, really, really like to see a top, honestly, a top six pick is what I would like in this structure for this single entry. But we'll see how that kind of shapes up. So 3 more. Again, if you're in the chat, A, hit the like, and we're going to rip another draft after this Bulldog. B, if you're in the draft or in the chat and want to draft a Bulldog with me, if you still have your entry, jump in and let's do it. Waiting on 3 spots. And we got a sound of summer right here. A little bit of, it's the weekend, long weekend for me. I don't know if it's, I don't think it's a long weekend for the American folks in the chat, which is probably the majority of you, but cheers. We got a long weekend up here in Alberta, Canada, so I'll take it. Waiting on 3 still. Again, want to be top 6. Why do I want to be top 6? It's just so easy to take any one of these 6 players. It's just whoever's there, whoever's available, and I would like to honestly be 6th, if I'm being honest, just because you get the higher second round pick and, so on and so forth throughout the rest of the draft. But yeah, that's why, just because it's a single entry, it's so basic to take one of these 6 players. To be honest, I'd rather not be 1 or 2, to be honest. I don't particularly want to take Christian McCaffrey in this structure in a single entry. I really would rather not be the 1-to-1. To be honest, 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, or 6. That's where I want to be. That's honestly the sweet spot pretty much in any tournament right now, in my opinion. Those are I don't know. I feel like those are the most coveted draft positions in these rooms right now. 4, 5, 6, just because you can get Tyreek sometimes. I saw Christian McCaffrey go 4th overall. Someone posted a screenshot on Twitter machine a couple days ago, 4th overall Christian McCaffrey. So if you get him 4th, no brainer. But you can get Tyreek Hill sometimes in the 4 spot. Chase, Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Make it easy on yourself. Pick whoever's available. If you want to, even out your exposure on 150 entries like the BBM, whatever else there might be, puppies and whatnot, but those are pretty much wrapped up. Probably get a puppy 3, I would imagine, as we get closer to the season. So maybe that's kind of worth talking about and looking at is what are we waiting on for tournaments that are going to be launched? Probably another Poodle, I hope. I think we only got, what did we get? Poodle 1, and that's it. Yeah, we only got 1 Poodle. Last year there was 3. I fully expect there to be another Poodle, which was, $7 entry. So I'll max out a Poodle 100% of the time. If there's 20 max, count me in. I'll max that out. The Pug was a cool one, 3 entry. I like that. We'll probably see another puppy, I would imagine. The puppy 3, there was 3 last year. Probably, I guess, the Chow Chow didn't come out. So what would that be? 5 max, 10 max, something like that. $50 entry probably. That's a cool structure. I don't know. We'll see what the funds look like heading into that. Again, my main focus, 107 entries in the Best Ball Mania. I have 3 slows going right now, which I'm actually on the clock. So maybe we'll do a pick while we're waiting on that. So technically I'm at 110 Best Ball Manias. I have 40 left. That's my big focus throughout this whole hot Best Ball summer. Max enter Best Ball Mania. Really take a shot at, getting 1 team to the final. If I get 1 team in the final, that's all I can ask for. And then I get my money back. So yeah, if you max enter and you get 1 team in the final, I'm sure you've made money, in Best Ball Mania. So that's kind of the goal. And that's my main focus is Best Ball Mania this year, but I'm sure it is for a lot of other people. The Hound Dog was a good one, $6 entry, 5 max. puppy 1, 2. Haven't got the third one yet, so we'll see. I think there's definitely another poodle, which I'll max enter. And then these other 2 that we have running right now, the Dash Hound and the Rottweiler. So where are we at? If we're not still waiting on 3 in the Bulldog, let's do our slow picks on the Best Ball Mania teams I got going on right now. So Anthony Richardson, Joe Burrow, nice looking squad. Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Malik Neighbors, T. Higgins, and Christian Watson. A little bit of a discount on Kyle Pitts, Christian Watson, T. Higgins. I'm not taking a crazy amount of T. Higgins, but when he falls to pick 45, and I'm kind of setting up that Bengals stack, which I don't have a lot of. I'm actually kind of trying to avoid, especially in Best Ball Mania. I'm trying a little bit of different things with Cincinnati, especially. So I'll take a naked Joe Burrow if he falls to pick 90, whatever. We've seen him go in the 100 plus. So if Joe Burrow falls that far for me and I'm in the draft room, I'm going to take him naked. I don't give a shit. I'll take him naked and I'll catch up later. You can get Chase Brown, you can get Isovis, you can get Mike Gesicki. So you can bring it back. So I've kind of been trying to avoid taking too many of the Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow stack, because I know it's going to be, and it has been since, a little bit more casual drafters have come in, since that classic, August 1st, casual drafters start sliding into rooms. We're going to see Joe Burrow's ADP rise. He's going to get to that 76 area, right? So Jamar Chase goes here, T. Higgins goes around here, and then Joe Burrow is going to get pushed up to the 76, not the 93. I've seen it already like 3 times in Best Ball Mania rooms with, badgeless drafters coming in. They want to lock down the stack, which I get. So I think we're going to see Joe Burrow push back up to where he was, when Best Ball Mania kind of originally launched. So all of the people that have this kind of stack, all of the drafters that have this late Joe Burrow, that's going to be really, really nice. That's going to be a nice situation. And obviously pretty plus EV. Putt Daddy, what's happening, man? What's going on? What up? Love that wide receiver room so far. Yeah, it's a good start. And I got a little bit lucky with, Joe Burrow, a couple picks past ADP, right, to match my my stack. And then Kyle Pitts, that was a huge discount for me, 9 picks, and he's going to be rising, I believe. So I like that. Plus, it's correlated Devontae Adams and Malik Neighbors. I'll probably bring in a Washington piece at some point to just maximize that. Tennessee, Denver, obviously, right, correlates with both of my quarterbacks. So I'll be getting a Tennessee piece probably, honestly, right now with Tony Pollard to get my first running back. And then I'll get a Denver piece as well at some point. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this draft. So what are we doing? Again, probably Tony Pollard. Haven't gotten any recent news. If you're watching, I have let's check our Bulldog quick. I definitely don't want to miss a pick. Still waiting on 3. I have 32 beat writers on Twitter notifications going. I have notifications on. I highly recommend, if you're volume drafter, you just want to stay in the know, I highly recommend 32 beat writers. Turn on those notifications and you won't miss a thing. So I like Tony Pollard this year. I was famous for having 0% Tony Pollard last year. I don't know what's that. I wasn't famous for it, but you know what I mean? I had zero shares of Tony Pollard across the board last year completely. There was a 0% chance I was taking first round Tony Pollard. Worked out for me, worked out very well for me. And then this year he's going, 90 picks later, call it. That's a massive value if you ask me. So I like it. He's a solid bring back piece as well, stack option even. So that's where I'm going right here. So typically I don't like to pick when I have hours remaining on my slows. That's the whole point of doing slow drafts right now, is if news kicks in, you might save yourself, right? You might save yourself from a 0. We're a little late in the day. It's about 4-something p.m. in Tennessee right now, so I don't think there's going to be anything too crazy happening. So let's take Tony Pollard, bring him in as my bring back for the Cincinnati side in week 15. Good 0 RB target. I'm happy with that. I might bring in a Jacksonville piece. We'll see. Not a concern really, but my guy Tank Bigsby has has really risen up draft boards. Well, I shouldn't say he's risen up draft boards, but he's getting steamed up right now. And I like him in that on that team right now. I think he's a rebound, candidate. So we'll see how that works out. But this team I'm really happy with so far. Took Christian Watson just to open the door, a little bit of discount. He's practicing. He hasn't hurt his hamstrings yet. Nothing's going on with Christian Watson, and he's looked good. So whenever Christian Watson's been on the field, he's produced. So you got to get some shares, I feel like. I'm probably at like 5-6%. I probably want to be at field 6 to 8%, something like that on Christian Watson. But it also opens the door for Jordan Love. Then you can get Dontavion Wicks. You can get Romeo Doubs. You can get Luke Musgrave. You can get Marshawn Lloyd. There's tons of options in that Green Bay offense. So I like just picking up a piece or two. I like this playoff schedule as well. Big Romeo Doubs drafter and believer myself. So yeah, I like the way that this slow is coming together. But we'll see how we can land the plane there. Bulldogs full. Let's go. $75 Bulldog. I'm obviously not in the first 7 picks. So that sucks. I'm in the 12 hole. Hit him with the gritty. Mike Polduke, what's up, man? Probably in the chat, I hope. If you are, let me know. I don't think we'll snipe each other too much. You at the 9, me at the 12. So obviously I won't get any of the top 6. That's unfortunate. I really hope that this isn't the time that I get the Puka Marvin Harrison Jr. stack, week 17 stack, because I don't want it in this structure. I don't want it in this tournament. I don't care enough about week 17 in this structure to want to do that. So I hope that this isn't the time, but hit that like button for me, guys. If we get to, I don't know, let's call it like 8. Nothing crazy. 8 likes. I like the video myself, so we only need 7. Hit that like button and we'll rip another draft. And then, kind of vote in the chat. Let me know what you want to do. Rottweiler, Dash Hound, or Best Ball Mania. Those are the 3 options. Let me know in the chat if we get to 8 likes. And we'll rip another draft after this higher stakes Bulldog. So let's see what happens. So Christian McCaffrey, Lamb. I probably do go. I don't know who I don't want the 1 or 2. I really don't want the 1 or 2 in this structure. Bijan, I'm not sure I go that route this early. I would rather Amon-Ra, Justin Jefferson, I guess Jamar Chase, than Bijan, almost for sure, is the way I would go about it. That's why I wanted 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6 are the perfect spots in my opinion. In this structure, it's just easy. It just makes sense. It's easy to do it, and it's just a simple click. To be honest with you, what do we have for likes? 7 likes. We need 1 like. That's pretty attainable. We're at 8. There we go. We'll rip another draft. So let me know in the chat what you want to do, what kind of draft you want to do. Garrett Wilson would be great. Drake London would probably be the way to go as well. If Garrett Wilson goes, Jahmyr Gibbs, Drake London. I don't really need to force any, you don't need to pull up guys too much unless you really believe in them. And if anyone, it would be Debo. But I'm pretty on board with Jahmyr Gibbs personally. I haven't, it's not on purpose that I've faded David Montgomery, but I have. 12% in Best Ball Mania for Jahmyr Gibbs, 10% across the board. 10% Drake London, Best Ball Mania, 8% across the board. So that'll bump that up as well. David Montgomery has not been an intentional fade. So 3% and 3%, 3% Best Ball Mania, 3% across the board. Not really intentional. It's just in that spot in the draft, I'm typically clicking wide receivers, right? And if not, it's probably Kamara, because I'm a bit of a believer in Alvin Kamara this year. 15% best ball mania, 10% across the board. I'm just clicking typically wide receivers in this range. Once Kenny Walker goes, and usually I'm hoping he slips a little bit. I'm only 6% and 6%. So I'm hoping that Kenny Walker falls a little bit in these draft rooms. And then I'm clicking him over David Montgomery every time. So it's not intentional. It's not a fade. It's not a player take. It's not a hard fade on David Montgomery. It's just kind of how it's worked out and how I've structured my teams, taking more hero RB, zero RB builds, that sort of a thing, or just dual RB where I'm taking my first 2 picks are running backs, or 2 of my first 3 picks are running backs, and then I'm done until like round 12 or whatever. But it's just a structural thing where I haven't been drafting a ton of David Montgomery. But partially a small part of that is that I do really believe in Jahmyr Gibbs. And if I'm taking Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm not bringing in David Montgomery. You could, but if I'm like bringing in a handcuff or stacking a running back room or something like that, it's going to be with a team like Alvin Kamara, like the Saints, like Alvin Kamara and Kendre Miller, or maybe Bijan and Tyler Algier. Kyron Williams and Blake Corum that's the perfect example. Kyron Williams and Blake Corum, right? Blake Corum is not necessarily a zero, but he's not going to get you a crazy amount of points. He's not going to enter your lineup a ton if Kyron Williams is healthy. But if anything should happen to Kyron Williams, everything funnels to Blake Corum, right? So it's that's actually a pretty sharp play to stack Kyron Williams and Blake Corum. So you're guaranteeing yourself the Rams running back points, which is a pretty lucrative, position for running backs. So that's probably the perfect example is the Rams. So if I'm stacking a running back room for one team, it's not going to be the Detroit Lions. That's for damn sure. 100%. It will be with a team like the Rams. That's where it makes sense. So if Kyron Williams falls to me, I'll be pretty happy about that and might take him here. Like 2% in Best Ball Mania, 1% across the board. That's low, but I did want to kind of see where he would land as far as his ADP is concerned. He was falling, fell into the 30s, started at the 1-2 turn, fell all the way down to, I don't think he fell to the 30s, but you could easily get him in the 30s, right? So that's kind of what I was doing with Kyron. And as the season gets closer, we get positive news, he's healthy, everything like that, then I'm going to go ahead and pick off some shares. But again, it's just a bit of a structural thing, but I need to kind of force it. I need more than 2% Kyron Williams, especially, 1% across all of my tournaments. So we'll see where I land with that, but that's kind of just my thoughts about kind of running back stacking, if you will. Let me know what you think about that, or if you agree or hate the take, let me know. This is an odd spot. Don't think I want to take a running back, but I could go Isaiah Pacheco here. Could go Sam Laporta, but I won't in this structure. If this was a Best Ball Mania, I probably would, but I probably would have went Michael Pittman there, to be honest with you, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go with Tank and Flowers. Just because they're the 2 best players available right now. I mean, I guess you could say Sam Laporta is, but they do stack up. That's wonderful. That's a help, but it really doesn't matter. That's not why I'm taking them at all. I just think they're the 2 best players available as we sit right here. I'm not a big Amari Cooper drafter. 2%, 1%. T. Higgins as well, 4%, 3%. And realistically, I'm only taking T. Higgins if I'm bringing in Joe Burrow, which I could in this team, but I just I don't really want to. I could take a naked Joe Burrow in this type of a format, no problem. Hit it with the gritty. AJ Brown, Brandon Ayuk, George Pickens, and then brings in Jalen Hurts. Don't hate that at all. Definitely a quality strategy with the Eagles. I really, 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 really need to up my exposure to not only, well, the Eagles, realistically, I'm okay with AJ Brown, but I don't have a ton of Jalen Hurts at all. And Devontae Smith. I'd like as much Devontae Smith as I can kind of get. And I would like to stack him as much as I can with Devontae Smith. Realistically, you just need the AJ Brown drafter to not pick Jalen Hurts. Then you should be able to get him with your Devontae Smith. So, and a bunch past ADP. So that's kind of what I've been trying to do as much as I can in Best Ball Mania, but I need to just force it when I get AJ Brown a few more times. That's a team where I'm okay with kind of forcing the stack, not like the Cincinnati side, where for a couple of reasons, I've been saying it all summer. Like I really just, and I'm a huge Bengals fan. I need to get the rest of my stuff put up here, but I'll do that maybe by the end of the weekend here. But I just don't think it's super, super necessary to hammer the Broncos Bengals game for week 17. I really don't think that's going to be the game that you need. Maybe a piece from that game, maybe it's T. Higgins, maybe it's Isovis, maybe it's Gesicki with Patrick Surtain there. It's very possible that he's all over, Jamar Chase. And that makes it a little tough. So, or it could be the running back side of the Bengals. Who knows what piece out of the Broncos side, right? So it's just, I just don't think that that's the game, or that's a game that I'm going to really focus on very much. Detroit, San Francisco is a big one. Atlanta, Washington for me is a big one. Baltimore, Houston is a big one, even though I need way more Lamar shares. Philadelphia, Dallas. Rams, Cardinals even is a juicy matchup, I think. So there's just other games that I've been focusing on a lot more that just are just more appealing to me and have more dangerous offenses, right? And potentially bad defenses. But 5-6 turn, what are we looking to do? Calvin Ridley would have been a click. I could go Kyle Pitts here. I'll probably actually just bring in double KC wide receivers here, regardless of who it is. I just think that's an easy click in this structure. Just get a piece of the best quarterback in the NFL, where he has way more weapons. So Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy. Like, I don't need to double stack Atlanta at all. I'd much rather just game stack, like mini stack, and take some value where I can get it. Yeah, let's do this. The old Davis Maddox strategy. Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. Plus I got Tank Dell in week 16 for that. So that's nice, I guess. Nice little bit of correlation. I will bring in a Pittsburgh piece at some point, probably. If it makes sense. I have a player in mind, but we'll see. So hopefully and to be honest, I don't think there will be as much falling value at quarterback as in some other rooms. Again, because it's just less important. Hit him with the gritty, just maxed out his quarterback room, looks like. Jalen Hurts, Anthony Richardson, nothing wrong with that. So if that, I think that's a quality strategy, to be honest with you. I think that makes a lot of sense. And then just taking, a high-powered offense and another high-powered offense, right? But two pieces unstacked, I guarantee you, or at least I don't think, Michael will pick Brock Purdy. But I mean, that's not the worst strategy either, is to take three quarterbacks in a structure like this. But we'll see. That's kind of something, that's similar to what I'm doing here with my Kansas City pieces. Just two unstacked wide receivers from a high-powered offense with the best quarterback in the NFL. And that also kind of alleviates my concerns with Tank Dell and Zay Flowers being my wide receiver 2 and 3. So, yeah, it's a fun draft so far. I like the way it's shaping up. What again was the reason for not stacking Pitts with London? Would have taken Casey wide receiver with Pitts. It's just not necessary. It's just not necessary to stack for week 17 in this structure. 20 team final. Like, I'm more worried about getting to the final than a big stack in week 17. I just don't think it's necessary whatsoever. I might not stack my quarterbacks at all. Honestly, we'll see. But I really don't care. I'm more concerned with getting there. So this is kind of nice in week 16. I'd rather stack for week 15 and 16 than week 17 in this structure. So this mini game stack, Tank Dell with Rashee Rice, that's awesome. And Xavier Worthy, the KC wide receivers with Houston, that's awesome. I just want points. I just want to advance. That's all I care about. So 2 of 12, 2 of 10, 2 of 10. I'd rather fill my wide receiver running back rooms with quality plays than worry about stacking. I just don't think it's necessary. Again, especially for a 20-team final week 17. I don't think it's worth it whatsoever to force it. That wasn't a force, it was right at ADP. And it does make sense, but I can take 3 tight ends in this structure. I can piece it together a little easier. Pat Freiermuth might be a quality piece to bring in with these pass catchers, right? That would make some sense. So that's my reasoning for taking the 2 wide receivers from KC. At the very least, I think I'm getting 1 wide receiver 1, right? 1, top 12 wide receiver week to week. It might not always be Rashee Rice, right? Between these 2 wide receivers, I think I'm getting a wide receiver 1 week in, week out, whether it's Worthy or Rice, whatever. I think I'm getting a top 12 wide receiver every single week, hopefully, or at least most weeks, right? That's kind of the hope and the plan there. May or may not work out in my favor. We'll see, but that's the plan. That's the plan. Kyler, not sure, makes sense here, but there is some value there. I am kind of looking for some quarterback value somewhere. I mean, it's less likely the Jamar drafter takes Burrow, but the T. Higgins drafter probably takes him right here. So I could go with Joe Burrow and bring him up. I would probably rather Joe Burrow over. It's close, Joe Burrow and Kyler. It's very, very close for me. But I might have to take Kyler with a falling. I'm looking for falling quarterback value in this structure. So if it's kind of staring me right in the face, I kind of have to, unless this guy takes Kyler. Okay. I'm fine with that. So it's either tight end or quarterback to go along with my Jaylen Warren selection here. So bringing up a bring back piece and a pass catching bring back piece. We'll talk about that in a second here. Talked about it last week. So it's definitely Jaylen Warren. And then it's either Jake Ferguson or Joe Burrow. I'm going to go Joe Burrow here. I think there's no chance he gets back to me, obviously. And I think you need a quality quarterback room. I like what Mike did with Hit Him With the Gritty did here. Jalen Hurts, Anthony Richardson, that's quality. He's balanced build. I don't mind that at all. In this structure, that makes a lot of sense. So that's kind of where I was going to take a quarterback or a tight end 100%. I got to start filling out my roster with quality pieces. It might work out where I take 3 tight ends. We'll see. And I can bring a pass catching option back with Joe Burrow that I do like anyways. Mike Gesicki, Sovis, I can bring in. I probably won't be taking a Denver piece at all because, again, I just don't think that game's going to matter too much. So we'll see. That then means that I want to take a high upside quarterback in week 17, regardless of if I have stacking pieces. So it would make sense for Drake London to take a Jaden Daniels in this build that I have going. Because he's high upside, obviously doesn't overlap bye weeks, but high upside for week 17, a lot more high upside, I think, than Joe Burrow against Denver, right? So Joe Burrow's kind of getting me there. I'm going to be leaning on Joe Burrow until hopefully I get to the final. So we'll see what I end up with my QB2 situation, but that's kind of my reasoning. And why Jaylen Warren over Najee. And maybe this isn't necessary again in this structure, but that's kind of just where my brain naturally goes. If it's a bring back piece, then I'm taking Jaylen Warren 100% over Najee Harris. So anytime I'm bringing it back, especially with pass catchers, so I have Zay Flowers and then my 2 KC wide receivers. Anytime I'm bringing it back, I'm going to bring back the pass catching option, the running back pass catching option every single time. And yes, I will take Jaylen Warren over Najee Harris. Just did it. So it's easy for me, to be honest with you. And Najee goes a few picks later. It just makes the most sense, and again, maybe it wasn't exactly necessary in this structure, but it's kind of just naturally where my head goes. And as far as, total fantasy points, 165 for Jaylen Warren, 181 for Najee Harris. So not very far off regardless. If something should happen to Najee, Jaylen Warren becomes an absolute bell cow smash league winner. 60 catches is nice. I just think he has that higher upside. And for 60 catches and 370 yards, he didn't get in the end zone. He hasn't gotten in the end zone in his career yet, looks like, right? So I think he's only a two season player. This is his third year, I believe. So hasn't had a receiving touchdown yet. And almost, what is that? Almost 90 catches, over 500 yards. He hasn't had a receiving touchdown yet. He's almost like due, right? I think he's due. But where are we going to go here? Dak's still on the board. That is a pretty easy click. High upside against Philly. And then I'm done at quarterback. If he falls again, then I've got some. If this guy takes him, then that's really, really nice for him. I guess there we go. Marvin Harris is why I took Kyler. That makes sense. I didn't see him there, but I would still take Dak Prescott if I was this guy. Smart, well played. That sucks though because I really wanted him there. I could go Brock Purdy here against Detroit with Jahmyr Gibbs, and I might go that route. And then I'm going to take Tony Pollard. I'd rather not. I was hoping I could maybe get by with 5 running backs. And depending on my other 2 I maybe still could, but I don't like to overlap bye weeks a crazy amount. I still could, with 2 overlapping bye weeks, I could still do 5. That's not the end of the world. But I would rather not if I could. If I get a bye week 14, bye week 10, bye week 6, something like that, and 2 of them, I could still stop at 5. But I'm done at quarterback here. 100% done at quarterback, which is nice. I've got 2 pieces that I'm more than happy with. Higher upside for sure in week 17 with Brock Purdy. I don't need a pass catcher. I have a bring back. That's fine. That's a little mini game stack, 20-person final. That's fine. Don't need a huge stack. Yes, it would be nice if you end up in the finals with, double stack, double bring back. That would be nice. Then you would be all over that one game. What if the one game kind of duds, right? I guess you'd be saying the same thing in Best Ball Mania, but with only a 20-team final, you don't need the nuts, man. You really don't. You just need a quality score. So I'm just looking for points. Do need to catch up at tight end. So the next draft we do is going to be a lot different than this because we'll be doing a different structure. Single entry structure, higher dollar value, just it's different. It's a lot of a different strategy for me, way different strategy for me. But if you're in the chat, you want to draft again, we got to the like goal that we wanted. If you're still in there, hit that like button if you don't mind. We'll rip another draft. And but let me know in the chat what you want to do. Dachshund, Rottweiler, BBM. Those are the 3 options. Let me know in the chat what you want to do, and we'll rip one of those after this Bulldog is over. Jerome Ford would make a lot of sense. Bye week. Sure, he correlates. That's nice, but he's the best piece right now if he falls to me. I really like this guy's build so far. I'm not a big Aaron Jones drafter personally, or Chris Godwin, but I really like this build. This is a dangerous team. He got just an awesome amount of value on his two quarterbacks. And if he didn't take both of these guys, I would have taken, either one. So well done in the 11 spot. Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison, sure. Sam Laporta is nice. It's a good. That's a good draft for the 11 spot. Rashee Rice just had a play. Hit him with the gritty, Mike. He's drafting on his phone. He just replied to me on the Twitter machine. Appreciate the retweet on that, by the way, the retweet and the like. Appreciate that. Can't comment and draft at the same time, and can't comment on his phone, but he's in the chat. Appreciate you coming out. Hopefully, we're the 2 of 12 in this one. Definitely a balanced build. Bye week 5 and 9 is pretty heavy, but that's fine. 3 tight ends. There goes Pat Freiermuth. Probably would have taken Pat Fry, to be honest. But certainly wasn't necessary. Dalton Schultz is not a bad click here at all. I'm going to be done at quarterback for sure. Probably leaning on 3 tight ends as it sits right now. We'll see, but especially if I do end up getting Jerome Ford, which I am going to go with. Could be a Rico Dowdle, but I don't know. It's a little too... It could be Rico Dowdle. Jerome Ford for sure. I really don't mind the Dalton Schultz click. Just because it does correlate. I like the piece regardless. Let's go Josh Downs. He's getting steamed right now. So let's go Josh Downs. Sorry, Mike, if I sniped you on him. Probably did with Anthony Richardson there. But, he's past ADP anyways. So if you really wanted him, should have taken him here instead of Pat Fry. My apologies. But I like Josh Downs. I'm really trying to up that exposure. Dalton Schultz wouldn't have been a bad click, but I think I'm leaning in on 3 tight ends anyways. I should be able to stop. I should be able to stop at 5 running backs. I think I'm good at 5 running backs. I'm done at quarterback. I can still go 8 wide receivers and 3 tight ends. That's probably going to be the build. 2, 5, 8, 3 is almost certainly going to be the build here. Josh Downs, getting some major steam in camp right now. And looks like he's really connecting with Anthony Richardson, I think. And from the coach speak stuff that's coming out, it definitely sounds and looks good. And not even just coach speak stuff, the stuff that Anthony Richardson is saying, that's what's really making a big difference for me. Definitely have enough tight end pieces where I can pick 3 of them and be happy with it. I kind of have to get going on that though. Done a quarterback. 13 picks away. If Rico Dowdle was there, obviously I'd snap click that 20 pick drop. That's not going to happen. No Fants on the board. So for my tight end room, I'm looking at probably Hunter Henry, Noah Fant, Cade Otton, Jonnu, Gesicki, even Colby Parkinson as my third. Dulcich, if I really, really had to, as my third. Juwan Johnson, if I had to, as my third. Isaiah Likely, don't think I need, but if I had to, I guess I could go that route. But we'll see kind of how the room falls as far as tight ends are concerned. 3-3-3. Threes are wild for hit him with the gritty. Dotson, Dowdle. That's a fall on Dotson, I believe. Yeah, a little bit of discount. Wow. 24 Debo. Holy moly. That is wonderful. That is nice. Used to be able to get that. Not so much anymore, but and I'm kind of surprised in this structure that Debo would fall that far. That's a little interesting. That's kind of wild. Two more wide receivers probably on the docket, but I like where I'm at with my wide receiver room. Running back room's in good shape. Definitely need to add a fifth and probably call it there. We'll see if I do end up going with 3 tight ends. That's pretty likely, but not 100%. This guy's definitely going with a running back here, unless he wants to finish up his wide receiver room. So Chuba could be on the board for me. Fant, Ray Day, Wandale correlates everywhere, and I like Wandale regardless. Definitely Jaylen Warren. Jaylen Warren makes tons of sense for my bye weeks. He's a bring back everywhere. He's looking great in camp. But then do I go Hunter Henry or Noah Fant? Who do I think has more upside and more potential touchdown upside? If I'm being honest, I think it's Noah Fant. He's got a little bit better of a playoff schedule, except for at Chicago, but that's okay. But I'm going to go Noah Fant here as my first tight end. Definitely taking 3. That's for sure. I feel pretty comfortable at quarterback and running back. It's possible to take a 6 running back, but I could be done. I could be okay here. See, and like you end up with a lot of correlation anyways, which is nice. But not necessary. Again, that's not even a tiebreaker for me. Like a lot of times when I'm drafting Best Ball Mania or some of these other tournaments, it's potentially, a tiebreaker. If I have a guy who's, correlated, or if bye weeks end correlation and it makes sense, then that'll be the tiebreaker. I'll take that player. In this, I don't really care about correlation. If I'm being honest, it might happen. The only real correlation pick I took was Jaylen Warren. I guess you could say that with Jalen Wright over Chuba Hubbard, but in this structure, I want that high upside running back over Chuba, who could be replaced late in the season. Maybe does, maybe doesn't. I'm still huge Chuba drafter. Obviously, 25% in BBM, 21% overall. Huge Chuba drafter and believer, but with the way camp is going for Jaylen Warren right now, I'm happy to take that big play upside over, a pound or a plotter a little bit in Chuba Hubbard. So 11 spot auto drafting. Looks like the last 2 picks were, let's take a peek here. DeMario and Hunter Henry could be auto drafted, but he could be leaning in on New England. I guess that's not a team I would be drafting a ton of. And that's part of the reason why I didn't take Hunter Henry there. I think the offense for the Seahawks is a lot more potent than than the New England Patriots offense, and that's not, hot off the press. What were his what were the ADPs there? Yeah, it definitely could have been Adonai Mitchell. Maybe he is auto drafting. Am I giving him too much credit? Did I just give this guy a shout out and too much credit for actually doing nothing? I probably did. Jeez, you're probably right, Putt Daddy. Jeez. I gave this guy a shout out for having a good quality draft, and he's auto drafted. Mind you, his running back room, I would still be not happy with regardless, but he got crazy value in quarterbacks. That's why I couldn't get a falling quarterback value. There it is right there. Shit, eh? So he just lucked out with Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. Yeah, you never draft 3 tight ends with Sam Laporta. At least you shouldn't. Sam Laporta and Dalton Schultz is more than enough. So you're probably right. Geez, I'm giving him a shout out for getting value, getting these falling quarterbacks. Guess I should pay more attention. It's crazy with the 20-second clock how much different it really is. The 10 seconds is a crazy amount of difference. I didn't think he was auto drafting there at all, but it looks like he was. I'm just giving him a shout out like he's some sort of fucking genius over here. Turns out he's not even in the room. It's kind of getting slim pickings at tight end. It's getting interesting with these Cincinnati pieces. So I really don't want to go with running back here at all. I think I'm good. I'm gonna call myself good. So then, is it like Malachi Corley? And then who? Jalen Hyatt, I like. I mean, it's the 15th and 16th round, 15-16 turn. So this is just because this is the best offense remaining. And I need these positions. I don't love that, but I want to get. They're the best offenses available. So like what else can I do here? I'm not doing this for correlation per se or stacking, but when it's that cheap and I'm getting like the 3 and 4th option on this team and it's a high powered offense and I need to get, I really think I had to pick Mike Gesicki there. That's for sure. I didn't 100% need Andre Iosovas, but he's getting a lot of steam right now. He's almost certainly winning that wide receiver 3 position, which is pretty coveted, especially if T. Higgins can't exactly get the job done again, like just happened last year, right? Not only was he injured, but he was super inefficient and he had stone hands. So, yeah, I don't hate it. I don't love having to bring up Iosovas or Mike Gesicki for that matter, but I definitely do not think both of them would have been there. Both of their ADPs are really rising right now. You can't really get them in the 17th, 18th round anymore. So who else could I have gone with here? Like Isaiah Likely to pair up with Zay Flowers as a backup tight end, a contingency upside tight end, not really advisable for me. Jalen Tolbert, I guess, could have been on the table. I'm happy to take Jalen Tolbert. Not taking quarterback or running back, and even if I wanted to, these are not the I'm happy with where I'm at with quarterback. That's for sure. Malachi Corley, that would have been a guy that I like. I have a ton of. So that's really the only guy. Malachi Corley is the only real option here that I kind of would have or should have, maybe should have, but would have taken. But Mike Gesicki, I feel like I had to just because of where my tight end room is at. So regardless, I was picking Mike Gesicki there. Iasovis, I don't know if he was necessary. It could have been Malachi Corley. I suppose Greg Dortch. But like the wide receiver 3, those are all probably, I think Corley has a good shot at being the wide receiver 2 on the Jets. But Greg Dortch, wide receiver 3. Iasovis, wide receiver 3. Jalen Tolbert, wide receiver 3. What's the best offense there? It's either Dallas or Cincinnati. So 4 touchdowns last year for Iasovis. Just getting steamed up right now in training camp. Hashtag no regrets. So wide receiver tight end is left. What do I need for my third tight end? I'm not going to pick a bye week 10 or 12. I just need to get these guys. These guys need to play off each other. So Juwan Johnson's off the table for me personally. Dawson Knox is off the table. I want to give all 3 of these guys the most opportunity possible to enter my lineup. I probably would have taken Colby Parkinson. Oh, that sneeze hurt, man. I played 27 holes of golf yesterday, and I haven't swung a club in like 6 weeks, which is crazy rare for me. But hit him with the gritty. Snipes me on Jalen Hyatt. I definitely would have taken Hyatt there. So it's probably Greg Dulcich. Which is an interesting click. I haven't clicked him once, and I'm picking him in a higher stakes type of draft. So there you go. Luke McCaffrey is on the table. Darius Slayton's on the table, I suppose, but obviously you can see I'm not a huge drafter or real believer in Darius Slayton, to be honest with you. So it's got to be Luke McCaffrey with Greg Dulcich. I mean, there's one where if I was looking to correlate, I would just take Darius Slayton. I do have the bring back with Luke McCaffrey and Drake London, sure, but I'm just kind of taking the best player available. And Luke McCaffrey is the wide receiver 3 for sure on that team. With the Giants, you've got obviously Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Jalen Hyatt. Right? Those, I think, are the top 3 wide receivers on the Giants. I know that Slayton's led this team in receiving yards for the last 3 years. I've drafted a lot of Slayton throughout this whole time. It's hard not to believe in him, but I want to see Slayton move somewhere else. I want to see him get traded. I wouldn't mind if he just straight up got cut by the Giants. I don't think that'll happen, but to be honest, I kind of hope he does. Gets cut from the Giants and he goes somewhere else and is able to play a more prominent role in another offense with a better quarterback, but we'll see. Either way, we're wrapping this up. Let me know in the chat. If you're in the chat, let me know what you want to see drafted. We're going to run another draft. We're going to do either the Dash Hound, the Rottweiler, or a Best Ball Mania. Type it in the chat what you want me to do, and that's what we'll rip in a few minutes here. I'm just going to run through this team again and kind of talk through it a little bit. We're almost wrapped up. Yeah. I like the team. It's got as good a shot as any, but to advance. And with the Iasovis click, yeah, that's the only one that I may or may not regret. That's the only one that I'm kind of on the fence with. I guess I could have taken Jalen Hyatt, bring him up there, but again, the wide receiver 3 of these options that are left, it's got to be Andre Iasovis with the Cincinnati Bengals. It has to be. I guess Tyler Boyd I could have taken over Luke McCaffrey, I suppose. but I don't know. It's really close. I mean, I'm happy with this team. Let's let it finish. We'll take a look at it. The Pitbull. It's like we got to refresh the page. Okay, so the Bulldog went like this. Joe Burrow, Brock Purdy. I'm happy with that room. High floor quarterbacks. Ceilings aren't necessarily through the roof, but they have the 30-point potential, and the floors are very high. So again, if it's a 20-seat final, I don't think you're going to need that 35-point quarterback. I don't think that's going to be absolutely necessary, right? You're not going to need the nuts in a 20-team final. So I like that room. Happy with that. Happy to stop at 2. Yeah, that's a good room. Jahmyr Gibbs, Jalen Warren, Tony Pollard, Jerome Ford, Jalen Wright. I like that as well. I kind of wish the bye weeks didn't overlap here, but that's not the end of the world, especially being early in the season. Bye week 5, I'd rather that than, bye week 14, 12, and having those overlap. I wouldn't say there's really a high floor outside of Gibbs. So hopefully, as long as Gibbs stays healthy and he's in my lineup week in, week out, I should have a good shot. And then these guys kind of play off each other for that second running back spot in my lineup. Pretty much banking on only 2 running backs week in, week out. But you never know. Maybe get some spike weeks. Drake London, Tank Dell, Zay Flowers, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Josh Downs, Andre Isovis, Luke McCaffrey. I like it for the ceiling. The ceilings that exist. A little too many by week 14. 1, 2, 3, 4. So by week 14, I'm only going to have 4 wide receivers available, but I don't have any running backs that have a bye week 14. So as long as I can get 3 of those 4, which I should be able to get 1 out of Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy for sure. Drake London's my wide receiver 1, so that he should enter my lineup. And then, Isovis or one of these, both of these Kansas City wide receivers. And then I need one of my running backs to be in my flex or a tight end, Gesicki or Noah Fant. So don't mind this room. I think there's a high ceiling. Tank Dell, Zay Flowers, Xavier Worthy should all be high ceiling type of plays. Maybe even Josh Downs. We'll see. Drake London's high floor, high ceiling. He's the wide receiver 1 on this team. No question. It's obvious. So yeah, I like with it being somewhat fragile, I think you could call it. I like the draft capital that I sunk into this room, going back-to-back wide receiver, in the first, 6-7 rounds. So that's quality. Noah Fant, Mike Gesicki, Greg Dulcich should be able to get me by. Again, week in, week out. I'm not going to overlap bye weeks when I'm taking 3 late tight ends. If I had one kind of high, like a Jake Ferguson or, Evan Ingram and then 2 others, it's less important to not overlap bye weeks. But when you're taking 3 late tight ends, I don't ever want to overlap bye weeks personally, because I just want the best guy to enter my lineup week in, week out, have the most opportunity for these 3 guys to get into my lineup. So there you go. I like the team. I think it's got as good a shot as anybody to advance. All I want to do is advance. If you can somehow get to that final, I don't think it's very necessary to have tons of correlation in week 17. That's just kind of how I see it. So said I had 2 dash hounds. I need 2 more. So what do we want to do, team? No one's piping up in the chat. Do we want to go with my 3rd of 4 dash hounds? I haven't drafted any Rottweilers yet. So I have 4 to draft there. We could do a Best Ball Mania, but to be honest, I'd rather rip a dash hound or Rottweiler. So if no one's going to pipe up in the chat, let's do a quick 70%. Let's do a quick dash hound because I have to get my drafts in before it fills. It'll fill way faster than the Rottweiler, but either way, I gotta probably finish that up before the long weekend's over. So let's jump into a dash hound. Waiting on 8. Jump in if you're in the chat. You want to draft. I wouldn't say the strategy's a crazy amount different because it's still, 156 seat final, 1 of 5, 1 of 6. So correlation would be more important, stacking would be more important in the regular season than in the playoffs with correlation. But week 17 you do want some stacking, I think. Again, more important than the Bulldog to have some stacking, bringbacks, that sort of a thing in week 17. Waiting on 3. If you're in the chat, hit that like button for me if you don't mind. If you're not subscribed, hit subscribe. Turn the notifications on. Go live a little bit sporadically, most of the time, once or twice throughout the week. And then a lot of times on the weekend, I'll pop in. We only have a few more weeks of streaming for me. I'll be calling it quits not quits. I'll be taking my typical hiatus between the season and the playoffs. So learned last year the hard way that I just don't have time to draft and do streams and stuff during the NFL season. I just do not have the time for it. So it is what it is. I basically, throughout the summer, as soon as the season starts, I put the channel on the back burner for a couple months, back in typically December, January, and then we're back from January to September is my kind of window that I can stream. We're in the 7 hole. Helmut Newton. El Grande Rojo. Probably a nod to Pat Corain, Daily Rojo, I'd imagine. We got me in the 7 hole. That's nice. Frank Lefty Rosenthal. I don't think I've drafted with that guy, but that's kind of a cool name. Dame Star, I believe I've drafted with. A lot of badgeless, which I would expect in these dash hound rooms. So it can get a little crazy, especially, 6 straight badgeless and then a bunch of badged. And we got this random guy here. So we'll see what these badgeless guys are about. Not every badgeless drafter is just a brainless zombie clicking buttons out there. So it's not a blanket statement, but a lot are, if we're being honest with ourselves. So we'll see. We'll see how this room goes. Could be a little crazy. I was in BBM late night last night, and I got Malik Neighbors at like 34, something like that, which was pretty wild to me, considering he's rising, not falling. Got him a full, at least half round. It was 32 or 34, something like that. 30 it might have been. I think I was drafting out of this. No, I think I was out of the 8 spot. Yeah, I was out of the 8 spot. It was 32, and I got a Monra at 8. Got a Monra at 8, and I got Malik Neighbors at 32. So that was really nice. Really nice. Where are we going here? Justin Jefferson. There you go. There you go. Breece Hall at 5. Give me some Justin Jefferson. A little falling value. So chances are pretty high that I'm going to be looking towards Green Bay. Maybe Sam Darnold. I just don't think that J.J. McCarthy is going to be super ready to start games this year. It's going to depend on how Sam Darnold plays, and more importantly, how the team kind of responds, and the win-loss record is really going to be what decides, when or if J.J. McCarthy plays. As long as the Vikings are winning with Sam Darnold, he's going to continue to play. That's just what it is. That's just a fact. So that's really, really an interesting one for drafting. I'm not taking a ton of either. So I have 1% in Best Ball Mania, 0% of JJ McCarthy across the board. So that means I have one total share, and it's in a Best Ball Mania of JJ McCarthy. 0% Darnold and 0%. So I haven't drafted Darnold yet at all. So, well, maybe one somewhere, like a puppy or something. I could have one share somewhere, and it comes up as 0, as you see with JJ McCarthy. So I don't think I'll be going that route, but I guess you never know. Marvin Harrison falls to at least the 15 with Puka. Makes sense. Kind of have to take him. And there it is. So he gets the Puka Marvin Harrison stack. Let's see if I don't think I've drafted Justin Jefferson in the Dash Hound yet. And I haven't, so it's pretty wide open with who I could take here. I'm going to bring in Best Ball Mania just so I kind of have it up. Let's go Devontae Smith. I have already drafted him. That's okay. 3 of my 4 is going to have Devontae Smith. I did want to up my exposure, but I probably wouldn't have done that if I had realized. That's okay. So I definitely will not be taking Devontae Smith with my 4th Dash Hound draft. That's for sure. Kyren Williams pulled up to the 20. Can't say I hate it, and that's probably going to be the position I'm in Best Ball Mania to get more shares of Kyren. I'm going to have to bring him up and take him anytime he falls. The big thing with Kyren Williams for me is I find it very, very difficult to take Kyren Williams over Derrick Henry. Very difficult, as in like I can't do it. So I've been taking Derrick Henry over Kyren Williams every single time. I'm going to have to change that. So I've taken Derrick Henry twice in the Dash Hound. I won't be taking him here. I guess I should keep this up just to see, because I don't want to end up with too many shares of anybody realistically. I already have too many of Devontae Smith, if I'm being honest. I don't want that many shares, especially because I'm probably or could get sniped on Jalen Hurts. But I've got him twice with Jalen Hurts already, so I probably won't go down that road regardless, unless he falls, I suppose. I kind of have to, maybe. So where are we going here? Could match up DK or DJ Moore with my Justin Jefferson, and that's what I will be doing. So I haven't drafted DJ Moore yet in the Dash Hound. Definitely don't mind bumping up the numbers. So there we go. And then we'll see if the A.J. Brown drafter takes Jalen Hurts. If he doesn't, I might feel like I have to. And then I'll have that Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts stack in 3 of my 4 Dash Hounds, which I don't particularly want, but you could be doing a lot worse, that's for sure. It's not a bad stack at all to lean on, right? So we'll see. Any pressing news? Spencer Rattler, 4 TDs during team drills, 7 of 8 with 4 TDs. Rattler's been looking good at camp. Justin Jefferson makes an easy or very difficult catch look easy. Yeah, that's Justin Jefferson. He's one of the best in the world. A little bit of Marvin Harrison news, but nothing major. Nothing major today as far as news, which is not a bad thing. Oh, Jalen Hurts went early. Wow. Okay. I like that. So he reaches and brings up Jalen Hurts. I'm all right with that. A.J. Brown is just flying up the board. Not that he shouldn't, but he's overtaken. Has he overtaken Breece Hall? Let's take a look in a second here. Who am I picking? Don't want Sam Laporta. Too many shares already. Well, half. That's fine. I can keep it there. Could go George Pickens. Nothing for Pacheco. I might take Isaiah Pacheco here. 55. So Michael Pittman is on the board. Let's go like that. One of those two. I'm going to take Pittman here. I'm going to get a share of Michael Pittman Jr. and then hope that I can get Anthony Richardson at ADP at pick 55. But let's see. Did he overtake Breece Hall? 7.5. No, not yet. I think he probably will. 7.5, 8.9. It'll get close before the end of draft season for AJ Brown and Breece Hall. That's interesting. I didn't particularly think that he'd be able to pull up that much. Was saying for months and months that he would overtake Puka. That happened. Is Puka going to fall? I think Puka is going to fall probably below Garrett Wilson as well. So we're 10.5 right now and 10.7. Yeah, that'll happen in no time. So I really need to slow down on my Best Ball Mania too, because I want some shares of that stack. I've been saying it forever. Puka and Marvin Harrison, I want some shares of that stack. So as Puka falls, and if Marvin Harrison stays where he's at, you can get it at that 12, 13, the 1-2 turn. Maybe 11, and it's always potentially there at 11 and 14, but you got to have the 12 hole not select Marvin Harrison Jr. Less likely he takes Anthony Richardson, but also that could mean it's more likely. So we'll see. So we'll take Anthony Richardson here. I do like Dalton Kincaid. Jeez, got the sneezes here. But let's just lock up. Let's lock up Anthony Richardson. Realistically, Kincaid might be the click, but it's really close. It's really close. So little stack Michael Pittman Jr. with Anthony Richardson. I could bring in Downs if I like. Alec Pierce is getting some good buzz. I like Alec Pierce. I drafted him a lot in the big board pre-NFL draft. I really didn't think that the Colts would draft a wide receiver high. I thought they could draft one, sure, but I didn't think it would be in the first even 4 rounds. So I was drafting a lot of Alec Pierce as the wide receiver 3 on that team. Again, in the big board, but really not much at all since the Best Ball summer has kicked off. But yeah, Kincaid would have been a good click too, because I have taken a lot of James Cook with Josh Allen, and then Curtis Samuel, 50%. Yeah, Khalil Shakir, probably 25%. So 50. Wow. So yeah, Kincaid might have been a good click there, but I really just don't think that Anthony Richardson would have made it back to me. One of these 2 teams wouldn't have been a bad gamble, to be honest, to try to push Anthony Richardson, but pretty unlikely. Exceptionally unlikely, actually. I would have taken Calvin Ridley there, but it's probably going to be Kenny Walker. Well, twice already. I don't think I need to do that. No, we're going Christian Watson here. Pair him up with Justin Jefferson. Makes sense. Kenny Walker does make sense here, but I've already clicked him twice. Let's get some correlation. I haven't clicked Christian Watson in the Dash Hound yet, and chances are pretty high. I want to look at the Green Bay side, so Jordan Love, and then hopefully Romeo Doubs probably later in this draft. Alvin Kamara would have been an okay click there as well, but we'll see. I like the wide receiver room, obviously. Getting Michael Pittman half round, 8 picks, even past ADP as my wide receiver 4, that's a lot nicer than taking him as your wide receiver 2, even your wide receiver 3. So, with this room and with this capital, I could potentially stop at 7. We'll see. I could absolutely possibly stop at 7 wide receivers. The door is open for that, but we'll see how it shakes out. And if I got to catch up at running back as well. And I don't want to overlap too much of my running back exposure. This would be a very quality time to take Najee. So this is where I like to take Najee Harris when it's less important that I have, as a bring back, a little more like standalone kind of value, if you will. JSN's a nice click. Alvin Kamara, JSN, good clicks here. I could leverage, again, the Buffalo like I would have with Kincaid there. I could leverage that with Keon Coleman. We got a falling CJ Stroud a little bit. Nothing crazy. I don't want to click Ramondre here, but I kind of might have to. Or I could just take Najee over him. But we just the coaching staff just came out and said that the Patriots going to be a run first offense, which we kind of obviously knew already, but that does obviously boost Ramondre's value for sure. This guy should definitely take Jackson Smith and Jigba, no question, but he does already have 2 pieces, I suppose. Interesting. Yeah, this is easy click for me. Super easy click to take Jackson Smith and Jigba here. Yeah, that's no brainer. Correlates up the wazoo. And then again, I'm still live to stop at 7 wide receivers. Super zero RB on this one, which is not a bad spot to be in. KJ Osborne getting some positive news, has come to life lately, which was highlighted by his best performance of the summer on Saturday. He hauled in 5 receptions in team drills, including ... I haven't drafted KJ Osborne at all. I was a pretty big drafter of him last year. I like him as a player, to be honest with you, but I just think that it's Jalen Polk and Javon Baker, I think, are the 2 wide receivers you need to be drafting for that Patriots team. No matter what you say, they're the future of that team. They're the future of that franchise with Drake May. Like, to be honest, that's kind of going to be as far as that team will go, as far as Drake May, Jalen Polk, and Javon Baker can take them. Because they're going to be a bad team, obviously. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson, you could say as well. But, and arguably, he's a more important piece of that offense. Probably not even arguably, but either way, I think those are the wide receivers to own. Pretty highly exposed to Javon Baker, that's for sure. And Jalen Polk, I've picked off a few shares as much as I can. Jonathan Brooks looks like obviously he won't play in the preseason. We knew that, but it looks like he might not be available to week 3 or 4. Is what has recently come out. So we'll see. It's kind of what I was banking on with all my Chuba Hubbard exposure. So we're going to go Jordan Love here, bring him up half round, pair him up with Christian Watson. Week 17 matchup with Justin Jefferson. Makes tons of sense. Happy about that. I've got correlation with Pittman and Anthony Richardson already. Quality. 2 quarterbacks, 6 wide receivers, 0 RB, 0 tight end. Don't hate the spot I'm in with this build so far. But yeah, that's kind of what I was expecting with Chuba Hubbard and Jonathan Brooks. I was expecting him to miss at least a couple games. And the hope is that Chuba Hubbard just kind of takes the stranglehold on that job. He's the type of player that I think Dave Canales is really going to like and really going to want to play. And we've heard him say that already. We've already heard some positive, coach speak out of Dave Canales when it comes to Chuba Hubbard. So if he can start those first, 4, 5, 6 weeks of the season and, really take a bit of a stranglehold on that job, then it might bleed into the rest of the season. That's kind of my hope. Really wanted Romeo Doubs there. That's unfortunate, which might make me pivot from the wide receiver position to tight end and focus on Luke Musgrave on this team, because I'm already a little bit behind the 8 ball at running back, so I got to catch up a little bit. Done at quarterback though, which is nice, and I could stop at 7 wide receivers. Brock Bowers is a good click here, but I already have him in 2 of 4 already. Wow, geez. Zach Moss might make some sense here. Tony Pollard makes some sense. David Njoku is not a bad click. Brock Bowers, hey, wow. I'm probably going to go with Zach Moss. Only 5% total, 0 clicks so far. I'm more of a Chase Brown, have been since the get-go, kind of slappy, and have been, like I said, since day one. And he's going ahead of Zach Moss a lot of times. But I still think there's some value there for Zach Moss, especially goal line work. I'm leaving a candle on for Zach Moss a little bit. What are their ADPs at now? 97.4 and still 111.1. So interesting. I think my average ADP for Chase Brown is like 121 or something like that. And I have my bags packed, which is nice. I would still like to be clicking his name throughout the summer, but where did he go in this draft? Before pick 100? Yeah, 99. That's kind of where he's going now, which is fine. I just kind of now I wish I packed my bags even more. So that was one of the reasons why I drafted so many BBMs so far. I've already drafted, like I said, I'm through kind of 107/110 with a couple slows. There was just some values that I thought were still just readily available. So yeah, I wanted to pick off as many shares as I could at those prices. And, Chase Brown is probably the poster child of that discussion. Well, Dak Prescott falling. Jake Ferguson drafter. Should probably take Dak Prescott. There you go. Great value. Pair him up with Josh Allen. That's a good looking squad. Curtis Samuel. Yeah, that's a good looking team. Don't mind this guy in the 11 hole. As long as he's not auto drafting or 10 spot, sorry. As long as he's not, he's in the 11 hole, sorry. As long as he's not auto drafting like the last guy in the 11 spot. Tajay, too hard to not click, even though Devin Singletary makes some sense with my Indianapolis, sorry. But I would rather a wide receiver, and I still have that option with only 6. And if I can catch up at running back and tight end, then I won't stop at 7, essentially. So I am done at quarterback, that's for sure. And I am kind of just going to try to focus on catching up at running back and tight end, and then I can bring back a Giants receiver late. Wan'Dale Robinson would be the preferred, and then Jalen Hyatt is there as well. So we'll see what happens. I'm liking the catch up at running back so far, getting some half round value on Zach Moss, half round value on Tajay Spears. It's allowing me to catch up in my running back room when I have a super strong wide receiver room, very strong wide receiver room, and then quality quarterbacks as well. So I think this team's in a great spot. Might have to go with 3 tight ends, though. We'll see. We will see how that shakes out. Pat Freiermuth is probably on the table. By probably, he's definitely on the table. But I could go with the Jerome Ford to keep catching up at running back. Could go Gus Edwards. Not a bad click. Even Trey Benson, I guess, even though he's getting some negative pub right now. I don't think Dallas Goedert makes sense for this team. $127, $138. Hopefully, if Dallas Goedert's falling this far, I can get Pat Freiermuth to fall 8 picks. But we'll see. There goes Jerome Ford. I'm not drafting old and dusted Zeke. I'm not drafting old and dusted Nick Chubb. Personally, I think I'll take Gus Edwards here with the Kamani Vidal kind of news that's been coming out, the negative news that's been coming out, injury news with Vidal. And I don't trust J.K. Dobbins, so Gus Edwards it kind of is, and I need to up this exposure, 3% total. I think I'm at like 2% in Best Ball Mania, so let's get a Gus Edwards share again. 8 picks of value there. 6 picks, half a round, 5 picks, half a round, no 6 picks, sorry, half a round at least of ADP value on my running back room allows me to catch up. So I'm happy about that. I'm going to have to go with 6 running backs regardless. So my bye weeks are fine there. Overlapping a little bit. Hopefully Pat Freiermuth can fall to me. That would be nice. Not necessary, but that would be nice. I really don't want to take Rico Dowdle here, but I'll go like that. One of those 3 will be the click if they're available. Josh Downs makes some sense. Not necessary with Anthony Richardson, but there's a lot of positivity around Josh Downs. I haven't clicked his name yet, and there he goes, so that's fine. Gabe Davis can be on the board, but it doesn't make tons of sense. I'm just hoping for one of these 3. Ty Chandler can make some sense. Yeah, Ty Chandler could definitely make some sense. Luke Musgrave, obviously. Oh, geez. Just super zoomed in on us there. Double clicking like a maniac over here. There goes Trey Benson. I'd really rather not reach for Luke Musgrave here, but okay, so I should be all right for, well, Pat Freiermuth and Austin Eckler. Okay, perfect. I'm getting one of those 2, and it's Pat Fry. That's who I really wanted, actually, so that's good. That's what we wanted. Was able to push them. There we go. Now, if we can get Luke Musgrave, that would be really nice for my tight end room. I don't know if that's enough to stop at 2. I don't think that's enough to stop at 2 tight ends. I'd probably have to bring in a third, like with my last pick, really, really late. But we'll see. He might not even be there. Pick 151, ADP 147. So I need a bit of a drop. But if, Dallas Goedert fell, Pat Freiermuth fell, then fingers crossed Luke Musgrave can fall into my lap as well. I just have a lot of flexibility with being done at quarterback and having such a strong wide receiver room. Like I'm still going to, it's probably going to be a 2682, probably 2682 build. Probably, even though I won't be very comfortable with my tight end room. I mean, Pat Freiermuth and Kate Otten, Pat Freiermuth, Mike Gesicki, Pat Freiermuth, like Luke Musgrave. Is that enough? I don't know. I don't know if it is. There goes Chandler. Jaleel McLaughlin makes a lot of sense for this team. There goes Musgrave, so that sucks, but it is what it is. Noah Fant could still be viable for this team, but yeah, Yeah, he definitely could still be on the table for this team, but I don't know if that's the route I want to go down. Yeah, Jaleel McLaughlin's pretty much a no-brainer here. Just due to correlation. Tyler Algier's there, sure. There he goes. That's good. I don't need to think about that click. So this is too fragile to stop at 5, in my opinion. I guess I could still stop at 7 wide receivers. So 2, 6, 7, 3 is kind of what it might end up being. 2, 6, 7, 3. One more wide receiver, which is probably Wandale. But I've taken him in all of my teams. Jeez. Don't really want to do that. No Fant. What's Jalen Hyatt? Have I taken Jalen Hyatt? No, I haven't. So I might go Jalen Hyatt late. Jim Hubbard's on the board. Jalen Wright's on the board. Ray Davis is on the board because I won't be able to stop at 5. Yeah, we'll see. This is an odd build. This is definitely an odd, unique build. Obviously, super 0 RB, but I was able to get some value and discounts and catch up. But I still don't love that room, if I'm being honest with you. I still don't love that running back room. Zach Moss, Tajay Spears, Gus Edwards, and Jaleel McLaughlin. Yeah, pretty fragile. Noah Fant and Pat Freiermuth at a 2 tight end build. I don't know about that either. I think I'm just going to stop at 7 wide receivers and call it a day. It's very strong, a lot of draft capital. You have to just believe that these guys are able to get there and get the job done. So Jalen Wright or Noah Fant. I think Noah Fant makes more sense in this build. I'm taking 2 more running backs anyways. Let's go Noah Fant. He's correlated everywhere, especially with Green Bay. So double bring back against my single stack Green Bay. Do I bring in a guy like Melton? No, I can't do that. Come on. It's crazy. Bo Melton is high at number 3 in the pecking order right now. I think he is. He's definitely playing with the ones. He's caught some deep balls from Danny Dimes. He's caught a couple deep balls in training camp so far. We're gonna have to see some games played. We're gonna have to see some preseason games. That's a wide receiver room that I'm keeping an eye on. I think it's Malik Neighbors and Wandale Robinson for sure. And then it's between Darius Slayton and Jalen Hyatt. And Jalen Hyatt being a higher draft pick, he's the future. This is the last year on Darius Slayton's contract, I believe. Let's double check that. Let's double check his contract right now. But I believe this is the last year. Yeah, it is. So he's going to be on this team unless I suppose he gets traded or something. Yeah, he's not going to get cut. Dude, his cut money is just too much. He could get traded. But I don't see that happening either. But I think Jalen Hyatt's number 3 in the pecking right now. And should be moving into the season almost for sure. 100% Jalen Hyatt or Jalen McMillan so far. Who allows me to catch up at running back, to where I want to be? Probably Bucky. Probably Bucky Irving is the click here. Yeah. Yeah, let's go Bucky Irving. Catching up at running back. Here's Smash the Like. Appreciate that. What's up, Pat? How you doing? Saw your stream earlier. You're streaming early morning. Early morning stream. Actually, maybe not that early. Earlier for me, 2 hours behind. So I guess that's it's just early for me. It's probably an okay time for you, 11 a.m. or something like that. Appreciate you coming out though. Smash that like. We did the single entry Bulldog. Like that team. Hopefully you think it has a chance. And then we're here for a Dash Hound. 3 of 4 of my Dash Hounds. Got to wrap up my my Dash Hounds before that fills. It'll probably fill by the end of, I would think, today, to be honest. Worst case, or best case or worst case, tomorrow it's filled for sure. And then the Rottweiler will be after that, but it'll take a little more time. I had some time with the Bulldog. It took like a week. It'll take about a week total, roughly, for the Bulldog to fill. So I wanted to take some time and get that on a stream. But the Rottweiler is a fun one. Definitely be maxing that one. Skip the contest on my account. You skip the Bulldog or you skip the Rottweiler? I'm pretty sure you're gonna max that 4-entry Rottweiler. I think you were doing that earlier today. But the Bulldog, I think, is just a great structure. Love those single entry, high-ish dollar value kind of tournaments. Big fan of those. The $100, $75, $50, whatever. Skip the Bulldog. Still time, bro. Still time. It's not full yet. But no, I appreciate. I understand that. I was just saying it earlier in the show. I'm trying to be a little more selective with my contest selection until the end of the best ball season here. Definitely don't have unlimited funds, so don't want to just be pissing away on contests that I don't exactly want to enter. So main focus is Best Ball Mania, and then we'll kind of see from there. But Best Ball Mania, and then these single entries are nice. These 4 maxes are really nice. Don't love anyone on the board right here. I'm gonna have to bring up somebody. I don't want to. I guess Luke McCaffrey. I don't like the click whatsoever. I just don't want to overdo my exposure on these 4 maxes. I don't want to click Jalen Tolbert at 50%, and make it 75%. Like, I don't want to click Greg Dortch and bring up that exposure in a 4 max entry tournament, So I don't love any of these players right now, if I'm being honest with you. So it's probably going to be between Colby Parkinson, who I like quite a bit. 2% exposure doesn't really say that, but it's a last round click. So what do you want from me? But I will probably get that exposure up a little bit. Or it's going to be Jalen Hyatt. And it'll probably be like that. And then I need a last round click at running back. I'd rather not overlap certainly not by week 5. Take Bigsby makes some sense. Deneric Prince makes some sense. Tyrone Tracy could be okay, but I'd rather Jalen Hyatt in that build. Dylan Lowby makes sense. Yeah, any of those clicks work for me. Any one of those 3. There goes Lowby. Do I want to just pull up Jalen Hyatt? Yeah, probably. I could probably push him. 677 78 776. Do we have a Daniel Jones drafter? Nope. I'm going to take a shot and push Jalen Hyatt then. So any one of these. I don't like what I'm doing here. Maybe I got to stop at I guess I got to stop at 5 running backs. I need another tight end, which I just took, and I think I need Jalen Hyatt here. I guess I could take Tyrone Tracy instead. If he's there, I guess I go like that. 2, 6, 7, 3. That makes sense, I guess. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. And then I'm taking Tyrone Tracy over Jalen Hyatt. Yeah. I've got a couple other running back possibilities if I really want, but to be honest, no, it probably will stop there. If I don't get Hyatt, then I would just take another running back. Because then it doesn't make sense to force in any of these other wide receivers. So yeah, it's one of these three guys, unless they all go in these next three picks, which I highly doubt. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. Don't love this team. I love my wide receiver room. My tight ends should be able to get there. Running back or quarterback should be able to get me there, but pretty fragile in the running back room. As long as I can get Gus Edwards, as a high floor type of play. And if they're both there, then what do I do? I think I gotta go Tracy. Let's do that. It's just too fragile in my running back room. It's just too fragile. So 2, 6, 7, 3. Bit of a different structure for me, but I really like the draft capital that I sunk into my wide receiver room. Got some discounts, makes some sense. Yeah, my tight ends can get there. They can play off each other to get me there. Luke McCaffrey doesn't. That's kind of just a throw in. I kind of wish I took almost anybody other than Luke McCaffrey. But yeah, I mean, who? Jalen Tolbert? Yeah, could have taken Jalen Tolbert, pair him up with Devontae Smith, but either way, that's it. That's the show. Appreciate you guys coming out. Be live again on probably Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. One of those 3 days for sure. I'll be going live this week. I got a big guest coming on in 9 days. Big guest coming on August 12th. I'm excited about that one. Excited to chop it up. So tune in for that one. Like I said, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know when we're going live. Hit that like button on your way out. I appreciate you guys coming out. Thanks for drafting. Thanks for liking the video, everything like that. Like I always say on Off the Schneid, if you're afraid to be wrong. If you're afraid to be wrong, you'll never be right. Hopefully tonight we were right, especially with the single entry Bulldog. I'll see you guys in the streets. We'll see you on the next show. Have a